Let's freaking talk about it. This monthly reading vlog will end when I find a 5-star read. The fact that I was able to have that connection to a popular book, I cannot put this book down. I think I found my 5-star read. Figure out where to set up this dang tripod because this lighting is not it. Good morning, reader friends and book besties. First of all, welcome to the monthly reading vlog. This is probably going to be like the first time that I'm actually addressing the reading vlog. I haven't had a bad month, okay? I'm not going back into another mental slump, but I have recently gotten back into the gym, and so I've been really focusing on trying to get a routine, get a rhythm going in the gym. I bought a program that I've been doing. If you guys know Gains by Brains here on YouTube, I bought one of her level up programs. I'm really liking it so far. If you guys have subscribed to me, you may have seen one of my old fitness YouTube videos where I did like the Chloe Ting challenges. Those like blew up back in the day. Fitness has always been a big part of my life. I was a basketball player for a really long time, like over 15-16 years of my life, but I'm so happy that I'm back in the gym. Have been reading a lot this month. I finished 3 books so far this month. I've finished Hot House Flower, I've finished Heartless, and I have not finished 3 books. I've finished 2 books and I'm in the middle of my 3rd book, which is The Simple Wild, and I'm over 50%. I'm actually really far into the book. I'm on chapter 21. I would say, okay, so this is a book that was actually recommended to me by one of you lovely subbies, and it's one of her favorite books of all time, right? I have not reached the end, and so I'm not 100% sure how I feel yet, but this is definitely a slow burn, and I think I'm liking it. I think I'm liking it. My dog freaking ran and trampled my book, so now it's all dented, and so I'm trying to fix it. But this book has actually been a really good read so far. I would definitely say it's giving the same vibe as Book Lovers, where like the romance is kind of almost like a subplot in a way, but I almost don't mind it. I will say that I just got to chapter 20, or like finished chapter 20 last night, and we are just now getting a little hint of the romance. So it's definitely a huge slow burn, and almost like a enemies to lovers, enemies to friends to lovers type deal. But the main focus of this book is this girl Calla and her relationship with her dad, or lack thereof. She doesn't have a relationship with her dad because her mom left him and took her whenever she was very young, because like their lifestyles just didn't align. And so she ends up finding out that her dad is sick, and so she wants to go out and get to know him and whatnot. She kind of comes out there with a little bit of preconceived notions about who he is, about what Alaska is, just like based on what her mom has constantly told her growing up. She gets there, and first of all, right away we meet Jonah, and Jonah is kind of just like this witty character who kind of is giving Kala shit because he has some preconceived notions about her, but we get that little banter there. The banter in here is actually really good in this book. I'm really liking the banter. Appreciate that sort of chemistry, and it kind of makes me intrigued to get to know the characters more on that relationship level, especially because like it's not an upfront and important at first. Like their relationship isn't the number one thing that you're focusing on at first. This has multiple books in this series, and so I'm like, wow, like we're almost done with this, and we haven't really, you know, gotten any like romance, but maybe that'll come in the second book, or maybe it'll happen in this part of the book. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying this author's writing style right now. This is my first book by this author, and I'm thankful that I had one of you lovely subscribers take the time out of their day to recommend this to me and tell me that it's a good book to read. And I think it's a really good book to read right now. I mean, I don't really want to give it a star rating yet, or what I think it could be, because I feel like there's still a lot left, even though there's not that much left. And so I'm gonna spend some time this morning before I head to the gym reading this, and then I hopefully will have this finished by later on today with final thoughts. Great. I haven't really been picking up the camera again this month. I've more so been focusing on my videos that I've been posting. A lot of them have been videos from the end of April, so they just need to be edited. And so that typically kind of means that I'm not really focused on filming because I already have videos filmed, but I'm kind of getting towards the end of the pre-filmed videos. And I wanted to start picking up the camera again. So hello, welcome. Today is May 18th. It's May 18th. It is Thursday, but the first thing that I kind of wanted to update you guys on is that your girl has finally, after probably like 25 days, let's check Let's check my book, Marie. 23 total days it took me to complete this book. And obviously I took a ton of breaks in between. I more so just listened to the audiobook, but I finally finished Act War. I feel like that's a freaking accomplishment in itself. And I feel like I'd probably feel even more accomplished if I physically read the book. I mean, sometimes I did pick it up here and there, but for the most part, I did just listen to the audiobook. That was 25 hours. It was crazy. Since then, I also read and finished The Simple Wild. I talked about it a little bit in my 24-hour readathon vlog because that's like whenever I picked it up around that time. I really liked this book. The way that this author writes is very refreshing. It's very, I don't want to say slow paced, but it has a gradual build to it. I like the way that we learn about these characters through the voice of the author and through the voice of the main character, whose name is Calla. There's also a bit of a plot of romance in here, which, you know, I don't know, so it kind of starts as like an enemies to lover type thing. They both have preconceived notions of each other. It's like a really interesting like tug and pull sort of situation between Jonah and Calla. After The Simple Wild though, I did pick up The Retribution of Mara Dyer. I think that the last time I talked to you or even picked up the camera was whenever I was talking about reading Legends and Lattes. I want to read this book so bad. I read the first couple pages, the prologue, you know. I'm scared that this is gonna put me into a book slump. It is so much different than really anything that I read. It is high fantasy. I mean, we are just, you know, thrust right into ogres and goblins and monsters but like I flipped through it and it seems so cute. Like I keep seeing this little menu. I don't know, I think it has high potential. But I ended up picking up 2 books before I continued on with Legends and Lattes, and that one, the first one being The Retribution of Mara Dyer. I'm so happy I finally got to this. I've been sticking true to my TBR this month. We are kind of closing in towards the end of the month, so I need to get to my TBR because I did have a very ambitious TBR. It was just such a crazy way to close out the series. I don't really hear many people talking about this book, and I think it's because it's more of an older book. It's such a good read. Like, it's very thrilling and suspense filled and also angsty. There's a lot of good romance. Oh my god, we finally get Noah and Mara together. Like, I know I probably shouldn't love the last 50 pages as much as I did, but it was just like we have been waiting the entire trilogy for that moment between Noah and Mara where they are just finally together. I think that because the angst and the build up all the way to the last 50 pages happened, it just made it so much more significant for me and it really was impactful. But I will talk more about this, as I will these others, in my monthly reading wrap up. The second book that I've started since I told myself I was going to read Legends and Lattes is actually on my Kindle. I have started Say You Swear, which, let's freaking talk about it, please. No one asked for this, but I need to talk about it. This book is set, I'm gonna do so much research on Megan Brandy once I'm done, but this book is set in my hometown. I was born and raised in Oceanside, California, and this book freaking takes place in Oceanside, California. Whenever first of all, let's rewind. The first line of the book mentions Oceanside, and whenever I was reading it, I literally was like, no, because there's an Oceanside, Texas. So, oh wait, no, maybe there's a San Francisco. There's an Oceanside, New York. The drive to Oceanside is usually a peaceful one. As soon as I read that, I was like, okay. And then I kept reading a bit, and then Megan Brandy starts name dropping important places in Oceanside. Well, I mean, not like crazy, but she mentions the place that I was born, which is Tri-City Medical Center. And I just think that, like, first of all, this is a very popular, or kind of becoming a popular book if it's not already. I see a lot of different bookstagrammers and book talkers, booktubers talk about this book. But the fact that I was able to have that connection to a popular book and people are reading about, even though they don't know it, and they probably maybe have never seen Oceanside. I've seen Oceanside. I've lived in Oceanside. I've been to downtown. I was born in the hospital that all the crazy stuff in this book happened. And it just, like, the way I'm able to connect to that bumps it up a couple stars, okay? Not gonna lie. Ooh, It's just like the fact that it takes place in Southern California and it's like name dropping places that I know and I've been. It's just like, it gets me hype. I don't know why. I mean, I obviously know why I'm connected to it, but it's just like, this is so cool. It's like a big full circle moment. It gets me hyped. This book has gotten me hyped. But I will say there's a lot in this book. I know people say check the trigger warnings, but I just don't think that I was ready for the twists, the level of conflict, or the nature of the conflicts that were happening, especially in between the two characters that are wanting to be in a relationship. I think though that the writing is amazing, though sometimes a bit. I gotta finish my essay before 11:59 and I have to hit a word count. I really like this book, and I'm kind of feeling that the hype is real, and I'm trying not to be extra biased about the fact that it takes place in my hometown. But yeah, I really just wanted to share that. That made me so excited and hyped to read about. Like, I was waiting for that moment. I haven't really filmed a lot this month. My idea with the rest of this monthly reading vlog is that this monthly reading vlog will end when I find a 5-star read. Now, there is a caveat to that. I'm not going to continue this video longer than the month, but I'm going to try my best to find a 5-star read before May 30th so I can have this video up on May 31st. But until the end of the month, I am on the hunt. Ooh, that kind of rhymed. For a 5-star read, okay? I have not had a 5-star read this month, which tells you a bit about my readings. My last 5-star read was Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, and that particular 5-star read was just such a different read, and I really enjoyed it, and it kept me on my toes, and I liked it. I want to try and read some new releases. I do have to give Legends and Lattes its due diligence, and so this is going to be the book that I read after I read Say You Swear. We're gonna read Say You Swear, we're gonna continue on reading Legends and Lattes, and then we're gonna finally pick up Happy Place. I've been seeing a ton of people reading this, and I've been hearing great things about it. Somewhat mixed reviews, but really good things about it for the most part. And I'm just excited to see what my personal opinion of it is. Would really like to pick up Part of Your World, because I did recently just purchase Yours Truly, but I would like to give Abby Jimenez a shot because I haven't tried any of her work yet. I also would really like to try The Love Wager. These are all going to be books with authors that I have not attempted to try yet. I've been trying to read Legends and Lattes, but you want to know what? I'm only 3 chapters into the book, and I just feel like it's going to be what some could consider like a timepiece, and I know that's not the right terminology to like categorize this, but I think timepieces or time period pieces are like books that center or focus on a specific time period and like a snapshot into this world, into the sort of journey that this particular character is going through. I kind of wondered which one she was, and I think she's this one. This is Viv, I think, and Viv wants to open up a coffee shop, a cafe, and no one in her little town that she's living in, I forget exactly what it's called already. It's called Thune, and no one's known or ever heard of coffee before, and she went somewhere on like a quest, heard or like tasted coffee for the first time, and now she wants to bring that quaint, cozy vibe to Thune. is the 21st of May. I have had a pretty chill day. It's a Sunday. I posted a video this morning, and after that I decided that I wanted to just sit down and finish Legends and Lattes. So that is what I did today. I went to the library today and I knocked out Legends and Lattes. It is not a 5-star read. I gave it a solid 3-star and semi-solid 3.5 star on my BookMarie. I feel like it was a good book, but I feel like it kind of lacked depth in a way. I kind of didn't expect anything crazy from it, especially because right from the get-go I kind of got that vibe that it was just going to be more so like a period piece or a time piece where it's like we're focusing on a specific time period or like a specific range in time. And this kind of just follows Viv, and she ends up kind of building a little bit of a family, kind of building that sort of found community sort of trope. And so there's a lot of good points in this book. I will say my favorite character was definitely Thimble, I think is his name, and he is a baking mouse. Probably wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless this is something that you think is up your alley. I wouldn't recommend this to just everyone and anyone. But while I was at the library, I also started The Love Wager, and I'm already 54 pages. I'm on chapter 6. One thing that I'm liking about this book so far is that it's kind of fast-paced. Like, things are happening sort of quickly. We're not getting too much information about like the scenery or like things that are kind of irrelevant or would be irrelevant. But I'm not a huge fan of like the dating app trope. I just personally don't relate to it. But this book follows Haley and Jack. And Haley is a bartender for this wedding one day. She has like a couple part-time jobs, and she also kind of just got out of a relationship, I think. One customer comes up and he ends up getting like very publicly broken up with by his fiance, or like had an argument with his fiance, and it ended up with them breaking up. After that situation happens, he like goes back to Haley and he's like, well, you're responsible for this. You're gonna be responsible to make me drunk. And they end up like drinking together and then having like a one-night stand. And then next thing you know, they kind of like find each other on a dating app. And on this dating app, they both kind of have the same motive or same goal of like actually finding someone in something that's significant and profound. And so they're like sort of texting on the dating app. It seems as though they're rather comfortable with each other. Personally, I'm not sure I'm connected to how fast things are moving between the two characters. I mean, nothing really romantic has happened yet, and it's more so just banter, which I like. I've been enjoying the banter, and I think that the way that they're sort of like wittily talking to each other is intriguing, and it keeps me reading. I find myself like smiling to myself. It's sort of starting off slightly superficial in a way, and I know that's not really like the best word that I wanted to use, but it seems as though the foundation for which they are building their relationship isn't very steady. But again, I'm only 50 pages in, so who knows? Maybe this book will be more than just them getting together. Jack ends up like challenging Haley to a wager to see who could fall in love or find love on the dating app first. And so they both offer each other potential prizes should the other win. And at the very end of chapter 5, Jack invites Haley to like a speed dating event that he's going to go to the next day. And so I'm very interested to see how that works, and maybe that's where this little design comes in. Maybe they're like speed dating and then chatting to each other during the speed date. It's not like giving the best book I've ever read, but it's not giving anything special. And that's not to say I'm not liking it. I am liking it, but are you ready for some foods? Are you hungry? Let's go. I'm gonna go feed my dog. Thus far in the book, currently on chapter 18. Harriet and Wynne, they were engaged, and they decided to call things off. They also have a very tight-knit friend group that they've all known together since they were in college. They haven't told their friend group. Harriet and Wynne are sort of conflicted on whether or not they should be upfront with their friends or whether they should kind of put on sort of a facade just for the sake of the integrity of the surprise. What I'm loving about this book is that it's taking place in their beach house. They've been doing a lot of like fun activities. One of their friends is very adamant about their itinerary, so there's a lot of quirky, fun things that are occurring in the story. I'm also liking the emphasis on the relationship between the two characters. I feel like with the other Emily Henry books that I've read, their relationship sort of seemed like a side plot, getting a lot more meat and potatoes, but we're being told things kind of slowly. I have finished The Love Wager. Now, it is definitely not a 5-star read, and I think I knew that I don't want to say almost the entire time, because I think it did have potential, but for a majority of the book I kind of was just almost reading it to get to the end. And that's not to say that it wasn't a decent book, but I think this is more like a cheesy rom-com vibe. Like I could totally see this being a movie in like the 2000s. Also, I think her name is pronounced Hallie, not Haley, because I did mention about the Parent Trap, and so I know that in the Parent Trap one twin is named Hallie. But with that being said, I would give this book a solid 3.5 stars. I've officially finished Happy Place. I'm not sure what I want to rate it, and I feel like I need to take a second to really process how I feel. I feel like I could give this book 5 stars. I really do feel like I could give this book 5 stars. But there were parts of the book where it didn't feel like a 5-star read. I'm in between a 4.5 and a 5 right now. I feel like there were so many good parts of this book. Everyone, add this to your summer TBR, because it literally has the best summer vibes. Before my camera dies, let's freaking chat, y'all. I am officially over 50% through this book. I am on chapter 23. I cannot put this book down. I think I found my 5-star read. I randomly in my monthly reading vlog said that the monthly reading vlog would end whenever I found my 5-star read. I didn't think I would find my 5-star read, especially not before the end of the month, but we did. I mean, I don't know. We will see. We will see. From the jump, I feel like I've been so connected to this book, and I have so many thoughts. My weekend is definitely gonna be crazy and hectic, but I wanna try my absolute best to get through this book. And I started it yesterday, and I've already made it over 200 pages, so if that's not telling you how much I'm loving it, like, I think this feeling is exactly what I was thinking that I would feel, or that I maybe would have wanting to feel towards Happy Place in order for me to have granted it a 5-star. I'm really liking this book, and I have so many thoughts about it. Guys, we did it. We did it. We found our 5-star read, and I guess that means that officially this video is over. See you in my monthly wrap-up.